And right, I mean that is not even really getting into the true nightmare scenarios of sophisticated hacking that goes beyond just digital systems and kind of reaches into physical infrastructure, physical equipment. Like the power grid attacks were an example of that. Like there are two of like the very rare instances we've ever seen where hackers kind of like reached into physical systems and crossed that digital to physical divide.
Was the other one Stuxnet?
Stuxnet is the
Iran?
original. Stuxnet
Yeah.
remains the most sophisticated of those ever.
Can you explain to people what happened there? This is wild.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell the story of Stuxnet, but I'm not the true expert. And everybody should read Kim Zetter's book about Stuxnet called Countdown to Zero Day, which is...
Someone told me to read that.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Yeah. And, but Stuxnet, just to, so basically... I'm not sure where to start, but from Iran's perspective, they just began to see that these centrifuges, centrifuges as tall as the room we're in, that look like as big as the trunk of a tree.
And this is part of their nuclear underground testing.
This is how they turn I'm not a nuclear physicist, sorry, but
it's okay. I won't hold you to it.
But this is how you enrich, you change uranium from. You essentially purify it to make it of a grade that can be used to for nuclear power or nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, those are hard to distinguish. So Iran would claim that they were enriching nuclear, they were enriching uranium for nuclear power, and the rest of the world sees that as they were attempting to create a nuclear bomb. And
this was all underground,
right? And this is like an underground nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz in Iran.
What, like 2013? Something like that?
No, it was much earlier. Like
it was earlier.
I believe, and I'm like I said, I'm not the Stuxnet expert, but I think it was 2008.
It was that early?
Is when they began.
I thought Obama had been. It says uncovered in 2010. Thought this is Stuxnet.
Yeah,
happened to be in development by 2005. Keep going. I'll see.
I have no doubt that it was in development for years. I think it may have been first deployed in 2008, but in
September 2010.
It was first seen. It was first discovered only years later because the NSA is not the GRU. They don't get caught very often.
Between November 2009 and January 2010 is when on Natanz. That was what you said.
Yeah,
that's when the attacks occurred.
Well, what I understand about Stuxnet, and maybe this is I don't know. Well, anyway, what I understand is that it was begun under the Bush administration, and initially tested in that way, and then there was this kind of dramatic meeting when Obama was taking office, where Bush explained to Obama what Stuxnet was all about, and introduced him
to be there for that
this concept, and Obama made the decision to actually ramp up and expand this program, which the U.S. intelligence community called Olympic Games. But the world had would later, discover this malware and call it Stuxnet. I think based on a part of its code, some names in its code. But so in 2010 is when the world first learned of this thing. I'm going to screw this up, but I believe it was a Belarusian cybersecurity firm was the first to find this strange piece of malware that was just causing computers to crash. They were called virus blockada. Discovered
by Sergey Ulasin. I can't see where he's from, but we'll go with it.
Yeah.
You covered it.
Basically, Stuxnet, like NotPetya, but on a much, much smaller scale, was designed to self-spread. Not to cause it was basically designed to spread within a network just until it reached a computer connected to an enrichment centrifuge,
right?
One of these massive, incredibly fast spinning machines designed to enrich uranium. And then once it did that, once it reached one of those pieces of equipment, it would start messing with it essentially
and destroy it
and speed it up generally. And I think that in some cases it would speed it up and slow it down. But my understanding of my very simple, and incomplete understanding of Stuxnet is that it would speed it up until it destroyed itself. And it was done in a way where the Iranian nuclear scientists just thought that their equipment was breaking. They didn't know why. You can imagine that this, the reliability issues in a facility like this are really complex, and people got fired. They threw out lots of the centrifuges, and it took them years to discover that this was all done by a piece of NSA and Israeli code that was, in fact, the first piece of malware ever to have these kinds of physical destructive effects.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.